a 5, a 6, a 5, 6, 7, 8. Musical Monday, Musical Monday. Oh, you just can't stop
until you become a barbershop.
Musical Monday. Hey. Hello and welcome back to Musical Monday with Zach and Shay at ImprovBroadway. I'm Zach.
I'm Shay.
And we're at
ImprovBroadway.
And of course, joined with us with the finest fingies in the business, Caleb Wall. Ooh, that tickled my spine. If this is your first time tuning into Musical Monday, we sing our favorite songs to the musicals no one has ever heard about. And today is one that is not only a musical that is never heard of, but a musical convention that has never been tried. The title of this musical is called The Barbershop Duet.
I can hear the harmonies already.
I can hear the dissonant tones and the overtones and the undertones all bleeding into my ears in a cacophonous symphony of beauty.
Do you know what cacophonous means?
Yeah. Lots of noises happening all at the same time.
I can see the pinstripe shoots.
I can see the pinstripe shoots and ladders.
Shoots and ladders. The gum-chewing children watching with glee as the duet sings to their heart's content.
Oh my goodness. This is a musical all about the struggle of a barbershop duet trying to make it in a barbershop quartet's world.
It is tough. They try to sign up for musical conventions, and the musical conventions say we only accept for like a quartet. You can't do it with two people, and they are outraged.
Yeah, they are absolutely furious, and they're like, but why? And there's like, well, sort of the high notes and the low notes sort of round it out so it sounds pleasant. Otherwise, just having two dudes shouting out a cappella at each other, it just sounds really gross. But here's the thing: this is the journey of how they hear themselves in their mind, because when they sing, they don't just hear each other's voices, they hear full accompaniment. And it's beautiful for them.
A piano that is more beautiful than their own voices.
A piano that is more beautiful than their own voices.
This is the song they auditioned with for the quartet competition that said only quartets. Legally, we are mandating 4 people be a part of this. If you're a duet, please don't audition. Don't make the same mistake. I'm talking to you, the Barbershop Duet.
They called them out by name, Larry and Harry.
Larry and Harry.
And they thought they could outsmart them. You know the old trope of 2 kids standing on each other's shoulders in trench coats?
Yeah.
So what they did is they wore 4 trench coats with mannequins, trying to fool the judges that they were actually 4 voices at the same time.
The judges were no fools, obviously. They did not fall for it, but the audience was enraptured.
Yeah, they won them
They
over.
were fools, those idiots.
Those
and
foolish
they fell
audience.
for it. They said, ha, 4 voices.
Which is what a normal barbershop quartet audience they go, bravo! All 4 voices. And they fool them in this beautiful song, Listen to All 4 of Us. One is better than 1, 2 for sure. What's better than 3? Why, that is 4. I won't settle for less than 8 minus 4. When you do that equation, it is 4 and no more. Listen to us 4. Now listen, folks, any 2 voices could do this. Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But listen to these 4 voices. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Aren't you amazed at all of these voices? When we go out to lunch, we need to pick 4 choices. Boo boo doo 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 ba 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 she ba ba doo Listen to our voices Thank you.
Not only was it a bad quartet, it was a bad duet. So they were thrown out on the streets.
Despite the audience's clamor for the 4 voices, the judges kicked them out.
You'll notice they didn't say, what a great song. They just said, my, 4 voices.
They acknowledged that there were 4 voices, like fools.
Like fools. So the 2, Harry and Larry, thrown out on the streets, and they say, well, we spent all our pennies trying to get into this
We
competition.
cobbled them together, and they put their heads together and like, what could have gone wrong? What's wrong with our barbershop duet?
And they found the obvious answer why we're not singing about our love. They were both in love with the same woman, Mary
Same girl.
Jane.
Mary Jane.
And they
Gladly.
thought, surely if we sing about Mary Jane, then the judges will know that we belong with the quartet.
Absolutely, said Larry. He said that's what true music is singing from the heart. What were we singing at the competition? Just boo boo da boo boo doop and the number 4? We can't put our heart behind that.
No.
So they start busking. They start busking in the streets, practicing their new duet, all singing all about their love, Mary Jane Gladly.
That's right. And that's the title of the song, Mary Jane Driving Me Insane. Do-bop, do-wop, do-wop. Do-bop, do-wop, do-wop. Do-wop, do-wop, do-wop. Do-do-do-do-do. Mary Jane, driving me insane.
Driving me insane.
Mary
Jane, driving me insane.
Oh, I dropped on down to the Mary shop.
Oh, yeah,
And what did I find?
Oh, what if
A big old mine of Mary Janes just waiting in line. I said, I'll pick that Mary Jane and I'll take her home.
Take her home with me.
I want to get this Mary Jane alone with me alone. Mary Jane is driving me insane. 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 Oh, I popped on down to the Jane shop, and what did I see?
A Mary Jane.
A bunch of Janes waiting there for a little old me. I picked one Jane and took her home. I didn't want her to be alone. I put her in a cute dress and I made her say yes. Mary Jane is driving me insane. Mary Jane is driving me insane. Mary, 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 a Mary Jane. I do Mary, 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 Mary Jane. Mary Jane is driving me insane. Mary Jane is driving me insane. Mary Jane driving me insane.
Wow, and they caused a 6-car pileup.
If you'll pay attention to the lyrics, he goes to a Mary
Jane
shop,
store.
picks up a Mary Jane, then goes to just a Jane store.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they were 2 separate stores. You had to put them together. You know, it's like, they used to have a pottery store and a barn store, and then they mixed it all together.
This was made in the 40s where you could buy woman at a shop.
Yes, and women liked it. It was a privilege back then to be picked up by a man at the store.
Ah, yes, the Mary Jane store. You all remember it, you old fogies.
You old fogies, don't deny it. You all did it. That's where our grandparents came from.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, but of course the love causes a rift between them.
Of course, they both love the same Mary Jane, even though there are dozens to spare.
I mean, it's manufactured. It's the Henry T. Ford era of a factory line that are selling them together. But again, they'd spent all their pennies. And they go apart for a while. They try to go solo. And they both fail even more miserably, buying more mannequins and more trench coats to flesh out their quartet.
They were successful at busking, but alone they were failures.
They're flailing.
Even their cousins would turn away and give a quarter to a rich man instead.
Yes, that's exactly what would happen.
They'd be singing, and their cousins would say, I want you to know I can spare this money, but I'm not giving it to you because you are so bad at what you do.
You're truly bad at solo a cappella singing. But what's happening all at the same time? The National Barbershop Quartet Contest. And actually, it's international. There's a barbershop quartet from every single country. And if you know anything about international relations, sometimes these can have huge implications, like when America played hockey against the USSR and they beat them at hockey, and that was one of the pivotal moments of ending the war. This is the same thing. But what happened to the American team? Food poisoning. They were disqualified. And every single other barbershop quartet in the entire US of A was too scared to go up against the Germans. And so who did they call?
This was in World War II. It was in the 40s.
The 40s, I told you.
and the Nazis were competing.
Can
we say that?
I think we can. I think it's historically accurate to say this barbershop quartet was pivotal to ending this gruesome world war. And they both get the call.
Or at least that's what they thought.
That's in their minds. That later, when they look back on it, they thought, Hiroshima bomb, we sure dropped a bomb on that competition. But anywho, they are there at the international contest, and they realized something. They said, the only way that we are going to fool them into thinking that we're a barbershop quartet is to do something that no other quartet has ever done. Sing in tandem the entire song.
They said it was impossible.
They said the last group that tried got food poisoning.
Yeah, but they sure do it. And it is a beautiful song all about their hometown. Staten Island.
Staten Island, US of A. In this beautiful song titled, This One's for America.
Shoo-bop-shoo-doo. Corn dogs and orange juice. Picnics and red, white, and blue. I love the USA. Shoo-be-doo.
What's more American than the bald eagle? What's more USA than a loyal beagle? What's more like Washington than the Statue of Liberty? What's more USA than sure kissing me? This one's for America. 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 So Uncle Sam, sign me up. I know I am an American.
A shooby-dooby-doo, America. Shoo-dooby-doo. Shoo-bop.
And they end the war. The Mary and Jane store give them a complimentary Mary Jane. They go home with their sweethearts. And yeah, all is well.
A beautiful American store. They used this as propaganda material for when the Vietnam War came.
They used it to sell war bonds and then reappropriated it for the Vietnam War.
It failed terribly.
Horribly.
People said, this makes me not want to go even
That's
more.
why Vietnam failed horribly.
There were so many issues with the Vietnam War, but this one was also protested.
At some points, more furiously. They said, at one point the government said, you have a choice. Send the troops home or outlaw this musical. And the reasons why it took so long for the troops to come home was because they ran this musical first. But you know what I hope is never banned?
This podcast. Although it might with our very controversial war statements. But I want to reiterate, we do not take any of these issues lightly. The guy who wrote this musical was a product of his time. And while that is unforgivable, we are shedding light on the musical and the problematic content that is in it.
This podcast is nothing but for awareness of sometimes talented, creative people seeing the world through a lens which we now see as flawed.
Aren't we glad we can no longer buy a Mary Jane at the local department store?
Aren't we glad that no longer are white men comparing themselves to nuclear bombs? Seriously,
we
truly.
do not take that lightly. In fact, America made a grave mistake when they bombed those people.
They truly did. It really was a horror and a travesty in mankind. But you know what else is a travesty?
Of a much lesser, honestly,
minuscule
astronomically small compared to that.
Level is this episode has to come to an end. And even though we remember Veterans Day, Independence Day, D-Day, every day, of course, is